Right, so okay, this is Neil Thomas. Everyone knows Neil Thomas, aka RetroManCave. You're still in Wiltshire near Swindon, is that it?
That's right. I'm in a town called Malmesbury, which is just west of Swindon. Yeah, yeah. Not quite in the Cotswolds, so I don't have the prestige of saying I'm in the Cotswolds. Swindon doesn't have quite the same ring as the Cotswolds, does it? But it's a nice area.
Mm, yeah, and is it cold? Have you got AC going? Are you in the
I'm
basement?
in the
Are you?
basement, and yesterday was the hottest day of the year. And yeah, there's no AC. There's just a little pump
Uh,
that pumps air in, which is helpful when I'm soldering. But yeah, any more than
is
one
it
body
cold
down
or?
here, and it's like a sauna. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
is it? Oh, I thought it was
yeah,
going to be cold. I was going to say well gel, but
yeah.
right. Okay, so your day job now, everyone knows probably already. You're a full-time retro YouTuber, over 110,000 subs
Yeah.
now.
Yay, thank
Yay.
you. Yeah.
It's an
I still
achievement,
struggle
mate.
to say out loud I'm a full-time YouTuber because I think it sounds ridiculous. But you
Well,
know
it's,
that's the
you know,
reality of it. That's what I am.
yeah, well, and it's something you love doing. I'd love to get there, but my mind's into other things and other hobbies, and I can't quite take it as serious as I really wanted to.
Yeah.
So, you know, each to their own. I mean, you grabbed the spot and fair play, mate. You're doing really
Yeah.
well. You look
I mean,
polished,
I
and I
have
love
had the
it.
luxury of time. That's the thing that holds most people back from doing this is the fact that I don't have kids, so I've got a little bit more time than some people that have families do. And I was just in a fortunate situation where I had the space to try and start this at home. So I'm under no illusion that I've had, some good fortune on my side to make it happen. But I'm here
Yeah.
now somehow.
Okay, I won't go into that. It sounds a bit personal,
No,
but
not at all.
yeah,
Not
awesome,
at all.
awesome. So, what was your day job before this, then, Neil?
So I worked in IT from probably 1999. I think I got my first job in IT, just as
Yeah.
a support chap helping the IT manager at a company, and worked my way up through various companies in the IT departments, IT techie, network engineer, server engineer. Eventually, I worked up
Nice,
to
nice.
IT director. Um, had my own small business along the way, supporting other businesses' IT. So I've done sort of lots of things within the field of IT, and a huge majority of it was in the theme park industry for companies such as Merlin Entertainments, who run. They now own Two Swords, so they do the Waxworks, they do the London Dungeons,
Wow.
Legoland, and all the Sea Life centres. So for many years, my job was an IT techie traveling Europe, looking after the IT at all of these theme parks and attractions, which was a
Wow.
wonderful way to see the world,
Well,
especially in
yeah,
my early 20s. It was
yeah,
amazing to be able to do that. Yeah.
yeah. It sounds really niche as well. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That sounds really
Well,
good.
you say niche,
Yeah, awesome job.
there was one occasion when I had to lay a network cable over an open shark tank, which I'm not sure conformed to health and safety
Jesus
laws here, but
Christ.
I was in another country, so who knows?
Yeah. Danger money that day. So, in short, Neil brings in research facts around various pieces of known and lesser known retro hardware to clean up, fix, and restore,
Mhm.
whilst filming a whole process to edit down into a great storytelling watchable video. So, that's basically what Neil does now. Um,
And I think
Great, again, great show the way it's all done. And do you have people editing for you, or
no, no, it's just me.
it's all done?
It's just me.
Really,
Everything is me. The
really?
research, the script
Wow.
writing. I mean, I'd love to have some support and have some extra people,
Mm,
and turn into Linus Tech Tips with a whole team. But
I
the
know.
budget
Yeah,
doesn't allow
yeah,
for that. So it is me. It does involve long hours, and I'm glad that you mentioned there the storytelling aspect because I think that's a really important part of the videos that I make.
definitely.
It sort
Yeah,
of sets me
yeah,
apart a little bit that I can step away from the repairs and start to tell the story and the history of what I'm doing. I think people like that.
mm.
But yeah, it's all me. It's all me that does it.
Well, that's amazing, really, because we were sitting there thinking he's got to have a team, but like you say, with the time, that's probably it. You can really think about how to edit it and where to put bits and really give it that sort of studio look. So that's probably it
Yeah.
then, just the
And I
time.
think if I want
Yeah,
to grow the channel more, I will need to get help. I'm not adverse to getting help in. I've just got to be so
yeah, yeah,
careful that anyone that helps me doesn't move things away from the look and the feel that I've established and turns it into something a
yeah.
bit too generic and less personal. So, you know, there may come a time when I get some help, but it will be very iterative. I might get someone to help me with a little bit of research here and there and that sort of thing until it maybe grows into something more, but we'll see.
I know what you mean. I can be a bit fickle, even doing what I'm doing with the van at the moment. I won't let anyone help me because I want it to go a certain way. And yeah, even the stream actually, it's almost controlling.
Yeah. It's very hard to let go of that control. Yeah.
Yeah, but as you say, if it's doing a certain job and you're pulling in viewers and it's doing well, why change it?
There is one person who I have helped me actually, who I got involved recently, is a chap called James, and I just use him to find and book my guests for the tea break interviews that I do. So he takes that off my hands, and then I interview them. So that does help a lot. Yeah.
I've seen another guy. Might have been a Twitter post sitting in your seat in your studio. Is that the guy? I can't remember.
No, I haven't had a picture in my seat. No.
I don't know. I can't remember. It's just a thing the other day.
Was I here? Did they just break in and take a selfie? I don't know who this is.
No. I'll try and find it later. If I can find it, I'll let you know. So your hobbies are running, fixing up a knackered house, and that at the moment missing being in a pub. Well, that might have changed now.
Yeah, I still haven't braved it yet. I haven't been to a pub just yet, and I won't say the C word because I know YouTube can sometimes hide your video. Not that C word, the other one.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah, we'll call it the event. I haven't braved a pub yet since the event. Running, like to try and keep fit, and I'm trying to trash to treasure my house. But by that I mean I'm more project managing it than actually doing much in the way of DIY because I'm terrible at DIY. But yeah, it's coming along.
I get by. I always say there's a great saying. It's not how you mess up; it's how you cover up and move on. So how I know of Neil from memory. Yeah, this is. See, I've sort of almost blagged this. I can't remember. I think years ago, you must have popped onto the stream, said hi, and then we done a favour by doing the same.
Yeah, I think so.
And then you interviewed me briefly on a live stream, and I just for the thanks and appreciation, I sent you the ESD protected tweezers. So
that's right. Yeah, I still use them. Yeah.
Do you really?
I got to confess, I have bent one pair of them, but the rest are still in use.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's cool. I do like the way you fix things and, the way it's all done. And again, it's so polished and that. It's going to be one of my little questions and that. But as I go through, we've already covered a few bits. So.
Sure.
So what inspired you to make the jump to YouTube?
What inspired me? It was perhaps less inspiration and more burnout from working in IT. So I was kind of already looking for alternatives. And when I don't know what industry you work in, but is it in IT?
IT, ex-telecoms, and just a niche.
I find a lot of people who I speak to who work in IT have no idea what they would do if it wasn't IT, and that's where I was. It's like, what the hell could I do as an alternative? So I was starting to feel a bit burned out. I just spent a year living and working in France on a merger between a French and an American company, which went horribly wrong. So that I had to leave quite quickly and come back and find another job. So I wasn't feeling IT, and I guess I was looking for alternatives, but I'd never started YouTube with the view to making it a job. That was more as a hobby. Yeah. I had set up a little art company, so I had a little Etsy shop that I had set up, which was starting to make some progress, starting to pay the bills, and I was starting to think, well, if I can grow that enough, then I can step away from IT and think about something else to do. Yeah. But then the YouTube thing took off. And between the poster shop and the YouTube, it was just bringing in enough to cover the bills. So that's when I stepped away from IT and thought, okay, maybe this YouTube thing could turn into something a bit more. Let's just see where it goes. So there was some big risk taking. But again, as I said earlier, I don't have a family. So the risk was on me. I wasn't putting the risk on anyone else. So I was in a position to take that risk. And thankfully, it's paid off so far. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's got to be massive, and everything's. You think of the amount of different parts of a chain, all the links like the subs, how you put money. I gather you put money into it to get it to where it is.
I do. I mean, the biggest income is not YouTube; it's Patreon. That is what makes it possible for me to do what I do, the support of
Yeah.
Patreon. So yeah, that's the key thing. I do get YouTube ad revenue, but I've always tried to avoid putting myself in a position where I'm dependent on it, because I remember when I first started out, I had 1 month where all of a sudden it was the Amiga 500 series I did. I had a massive amount of views, and I saw my YouTube ad revenue and thought, what? How the hell has this happened? And then within a few months, there was all of the YouTubers started talking about how YouTube was screwing them over, and they were turning the screw on the ad revenue, and it nosedived. So I've never seen the same amount of ad revenue as I saw in 2017 since.
Wow.
Even though I'm a much bigger channel now, I've never seen that much come in since. It's a much smaller amount. So yeah, it's all thanks to Patreon. That's where the income comes from.
Again, it's just, I think you're really either wise or lucky that, again, the way your channel looks, the Patreon bit, everything links in, and it's made it into this where you could make the jump. I think it's really clever.
Yeah, yeah.
I think this is why I wanted to interview you, really, because I know a lot of people ask for generic stuff, but I like getting into what makes people.
I think the key behind it all is community. I've built up a really good community around the channel. There's a Discord server where we're chatting all day in there, the Patreon community and all of the others, and that's the real difference between what we do and traditional media. That's what makes you stand out, is the ability to engage and communicate. There are so many YouTubers who I've heard say, I just ignore the comments section. There's too much negativity in there, so I ignore it. But that's the one thing that sets you apart from traditional media, to be able to engage directly with the viewer. So yeah, community is a huge part of it. Yeah.
And to be honest, it doesn't matter what you do. I've had a few close streamers that have nearly quit because of the trolls that come on stream, and I've had to get chat moderators, and it was like you just got to push through it, because you can't. I mean, I used to do mobile discos and that, and for a fact that you can't please everyone. Yeah. You can please the majority, but you never ever get 100%. Yeah. You just got to deal with it.
Yeah, you got to focus on the positives. Focus on the people that are happy, the 100 people that are happy, not the one person that wanted you to play The Prodigy that night, and it wasn't appropriate at a children's party.
In a 70s disco. Yeah. So I think, as you say, if you dwell on it, it'll destroy you, and you just got to deal with it and push through. So yeah. And I think it takes a certain person to push through it as well. So I've had it, and it's not nice.
Have you found that do you think you've got a thicker skin now than when you started? Can you handle the negativity better? Yeah.
Yeah, and I think as well I've got a certain persona on stream. I think people think I'm a C word, the other one. But it's just the way it's just the way the stream is and what we do. I'm actually a nice guy in real life, but just the way the stream's set, we're all half pissed anyway. So
yeah.
But anyway, back to you. So what software, hardware do you use to edit the show's videos?
Okay, so I use Premiere. I've got a Creative Cloud subscription for that. And there's a huge amount of complexity to the Adobe suite. You can use Premiere for your video editing. You've got Audition for the audio editing and everything. I don't use any of that. I just use pretty much the basics of Premiere with a little bit of color correction and some of the transitions. Audio editing, I drop back to Audacity because it's just so simple. I do a bit of noise reduction on Audacity. Premiere, I'll drop in.
You sound a bit like me doing that. That's good.
I'll drop in Premiere. I'll drop in compressor and a bit of mastering, and that's it. You can really go down the rabbit hole. And like After Effects, I've never touched After Effects because it just looks. Oh, it looks so complicated.
I've touched on it a little bit. I can't remember what I did. I think there was an It trailer of the new It. I've got it as a poster up here somewhere, and they redone the Georgie trailer where the little boat's going down the thing, at the start of the film, and all of a sudden the kid gets to the thing and gets pulled down by a clown. Well, I actually made that into Big Nuts. So Big Nuts jumped up in the thing. But to get the colouring to the same as a film and mask out the original clown with it, and it took about a day and a half, and for literally 5 seconds of video.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and you need some pretty powerful hardware when you're working in After Effects to make stuff work. Just working in Premiere, sometimes it will freeze up and you have problems with it.
Yeah.
Hardware-wise, my machine's a couple of years old. It's a Ryzen 1700X with a 1070 GPU. It does the job. Yeah.
So I know it's difficult to say, as you've got many systems there. Mm-hmm. But do you have a favourite? I'm looking at them now, actually. Not necessarily from your youth, but perhaps from using something new to you. Up to you how you want to answer that.
Yeah, let me grab this off the shelf. I've got.
Have you got a Sam Cooper yet?
No, and that is on my wish list. A Sam Cooper. Hey! Very high on my wish list.
It's so expensive.
So expensive, yeah. You're touching on like £1,000. Looking at them.
Yeah.
One that I discovered last year, maybe the year before actually, which I really love, is the Sharp X68000, which is a Japanese machine that I didn't even know existed back in the day, and it has perfect arcade ports of things like Street Fighter. It's an incredibly powerful machine. But I'm going to show you this. I mean, you know what this
600.
is. You know what this is, a 600. Yeah. I'm showing you this because I absolutely hated it back in the day, because it represented all that was bad about Commodore when it came out. Yeah. It didn't need to exist. It offered nothing more than the A500 did at the time, maybe an IDE interface. But by then, we wanted the next generation of Amigas, and it disgusted me that this thing came out in the shops. But now I absolutely love it because it's compact. It's got the IDE interface. All you got to do is stick a bit of extra RAM in and a compact flash card, and you've got the perfect WHD load setup. So this is a real love-hate machine. So I'll go with the 600.
Yeah. See, I was young when this was all about, and I was music writing. But again, the music writing thing. This is the other thing that it was that, which I wasn't so up on, because obviously the older guys and that, they knew all that side of it. Yeah. But for me, it was the no keypad bit.
Oh yeah.
The little flight sims.
Yeah.
And the Octamed used to use the keypad for. I was like, oh, well, that's buggy.
They needed to offer a keypad accessory, didn't they, to sit next to them?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I didn't know you were into your tracking. That's cool.
Yeah, not as much as Hoffman and that. We'll get to that later, but I've done a few bits. I was terrible back then. I'll have to put a module. It's fucking terrible.
What was your genre? Were you trying to make jungle music, or what were you trying to do?
I've dabbled a bit in it,
yeah.
But anything really. But being an 11-year-old boy trying to work on a tracker with no help. There you go. I did ask, do you have any photos of you back in the day with one of your computers or consoles? I mean, you might not have.
I might have something. Just bear with me.
I just think, you can't hear me at the moment, can you?
Okay, it's not so exciting because I'm not actually in the picture, I'm afraid. But that is a photo of my first ever computer.
Oh, wicked.
It's an Amstrad CPC.
Oh, wicked, you got one. Oh, awesome. Yeah. See, I love it. I don't know what it is, but it's nostalgia of all of that as well. I love seeing old photos of people in it with the original. I love it.
It's on a lace tablecloth. Beautiful. Yeah, and that was Christmas morning 1985, I think that was.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was a joint present for me and my brother, but he was interested for all of about 30 seconds and then went off and played with his new football. And I was just mesmerised with it. That's where it all started for me, yeah.
Oh, dear. Well, I was going to ask you, if I gave you 1,500 quid and said to go and buy a rare piece of hardware, what would it be? But you've already answered that.
Well, I mean, I'd go with the coupe, but also there are so many awesome stories of prototypes that are working and are out there. I saw just yesterday on my Twitter feed there was the Dragon MSX that someone was showing off. And I think there's only one known to exist. I don't know what I'd do with it. There's probably no software I could run on a lot of these prototypes, but I find them really fascinating. I've got a Thompson MO5 prototype, which is a French machine. That's cool. And then, of course, there's all the Commodore prototypes that never came out that Dave Haney worked on, like the the 3500, things like that.
Yeah.
I've been lucky enough to see the Amiga 1200 CD-ROM add-on that's at the Retro Games Computer Museum in Leicester.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
We've picked it up. We touched it as well.
Yeah, that was cool.
That sounds fun.
So, if I've got cash to burn, I do like the prototype side of things. Otherwise, I keep mentioning Amigas today for some reason, but the Amiga 3000 is missing from my collection. That's the one I need to complete the set.
Yeah. So. Well, you got the checkmate. You're nearly there.
Yeah.
Right. So we'll get to that later. That one. Let's try and keep it around the retro stuff at the moment. There's always that one person I cannot seem to get to interview. Who are you dying to get on your show?
Now, I'm quite lucky with the interviews I do because I've got quite a large audience. People are more likely to say yes if they've got a story to tell. Then they want people to hear that story. So I've started to get some really good ones lately. Richard Garriott was a huge boom for me because I'm such a fan of his games, the Ultima games and Wing Commander and everything that was released under the Origin name. The guy's an astronaut. He went into space. He's been in a submarine down to visit the Titanic. He's an incredible guy.
Wow.
So it was amazing to get to chat to him. So I'm glad to have ticked him off the list. I would like to get a bit more diversity in the interviews that I do. I'd love to speak to Roberta Williams of Sierra. I got as far as speaking to Ken Williams to try and get them for an interview. And his reply was like, yeah, I'd love to do that sometime, but I'm just off for another 6 months on my yacht. So maybe when I get back, so they're living the high life.
It's a different world. Yeah, see how the other half live.
Yeah. So I go with Roberta Williams. I think she's a very difficult one to get hold of. And I'd love to hear about those early years at Sierra and those point-and-click adventure games.
Yeah. But it's fantastic. Definitely. So this brings us nicely into this one. Is it a lot easier making content, having a lot more subscribers, as hardware sent in willy-nilly?
Yeah, I don't you can see, but there's a pile of boxes behind me because I'm doing a live show later, and I've decided to do an unboxing of everything that's been sent in this month. And I know there's a lot of systems in there, and every system that's sent in is really at least one episode for me. So, the episodes can almost write themselves when you've got a stack of hardware looking at you that needs to be fixed. So so from the interview side, it makes it easier that you've got an audience. Having donations does make it easier. I've had to rent an attic space to put a lot of this hardware in now. God knows what I'll do if I ever have to move property because it's just piling up there.
Crazy, But to be honest, I'm well gelled because I've got a few bits up there, but when you walk in, you're like, oh god, I can just play with anything. This is I love.
That's a bit of a difference between you and I because this stuff isn't set up to play down here. This is set up to be a functioning studio where I can present stuff, and it really is my dream to get another room. I'd love to rent the room above here, and just have a few systems permanently set up. Yeah, not for filming, just so I can use them and so people can come and visit. Because it really is sort of one machine at a time at the moment when I set them up. Actually,
that's quite a good idea because, again, that could be a little bit of revenue, like Andy does, as you were just saying, at the Retro Museum. Even £1 or £2 for a couple of hours to play, bang. Yeah. Some more.
And, let's say financially, it's all part and parcel of that community. If people could say, I can actually go and visit the RetroManCave and have a coffee, play on that machine that I saw fixed up.
That'd be awesome.
And in turn, that would encourage people to send more in because they'd think, okay, this thing that's in my loft is actually going to get some love and it's going to get used by people. There's this whole circle. Yeah, I'd love to do that.
That's brilliant. It's a good idea.
But it's you look at a lot of these museums and I don't think many of them are particularly profitable, and they you've got to make enough to keep the lights on, haven't you, at the very least. So it's difficult.
Andy does do well, and they're lovely guys down there. I thought, I don't know what I was expecting, but when I went down there, I've never been to one, and it was solid core. There's a guy on the forums that have been doing all the high end stuff with Kipper 2K and all that. And I visited him and done a video, and that's when we went there. And amazing guys, amazing guys. And that again, you know, you think of how much that is it CD 1200's worth, and they just let us hold it. Although he still had kind of hold it, you know. But yeah, amazing. They didn't have to.
Yeah. Andy is a lovely guy. He's very welcoming. He's building an amazing community there. And his software library, I spent so long just walking around the software library. Never seen so many boxed games in the UK.
Yeah, and even old software like Lotus and crazy.
There was a boxed copy of X Copy. Whoever bought X Copy in a box?
Wow. Yeah, Jesus. Wow. That's so cool. Yeah. Again, it's just a minefield of what you see up there, and you could go back up there and see things that, you know, totally different day.
Yeah. And all the virtual reality gear as well. That's awesome.
Oh, that was amazing. Yeah, I remember Stephen Jones talking about that, and now you get to see it, and how clunky it is as well. Amazing. Yeah, great day. Recommend it. We'll have to put a little link on this after this. Yeah. So to date, for any reason at all, what was your most memorable interview?
Well, I mentioned Richard Garriott earlier. Another one that I really enjoyed was Eben Upton, or Eben Upton. I called him Eben through the interview, but I think it's actually pronounced Eben. He's the guy behind the Raspberry Pi project. So he's a very difficult guy to get hold of. And the only reason I got to interview him was because the event happened. And I messaged him and he said, I can't really do anything at the moment. Let's have a chat. So I called him, and he was the only guy at the Raspberry Pi offices because everyone had been sent home. And we got to have a good chat about the history of the Raspberry Pi. So he was a really good guy to talk to. Yeah, enjoyed that.
Yeah, it's amazing now this Raspberry Pi thing's gone on. I slipped in RetroPie then.
Well, let's be honest. That's what we're putting on it.
That's all we do with it. Yeah. Stick it in an arcade machine and get on with it. But yeah, it's amazing because you think. I think I've got to get my facts right here, but is it they were partly Acorn, and a couple of guys from Acorn have gone into making this thing. Yeah. And it's amazing. You know, you think of what happened to Acorn and that, and now they're almost biting us all back, really.
Yeah, there is that history, and also the attachment to the ARM processor, which was developed, at Acorn. Yeah. So it's a really nice that bit of British computing is so popular.
Still out there. Yeah, definitely. So we have a worst stream ever episode. Things went south a lot on that day, and it wasn't good. You know what Retro's like.
Is it still online? Can I watch it?
It's still there. Yeah, I just, you know what it's like live. It's just the worst feeling ever. And I think for us, and you know yourself, you're there to entertain, and it's almost like you're wasting people's time. It's so humbling, you know, when people come on and watch you live. You think, you know, they're watching this shit show. we best entertain, you know. And when things go south, it's even worse. And you know, thing after thing, you're like, there's nothing I can do right tonight. But is there anything like that you remember, or anything that actually I could probably still watch?
Yeah, I mean, I know what you're saying.
Delete.
People don't realise like how fast your legs are pedaling under the desk here when you're doing a live stream. You know, you're doing scene transitions over here, and your mixer over here, and trying to get everything just right while maintaining a conversation with the chat. I haven't had any absolute disasters. I've had near misses when we did the Sharp X68000 live stream. My friend Gary bought his Sharp over. It's a very, very rare machine. And there was one point in the stream where he just moved the monitor, and the whole thing it just sort of wobbled, and we really grabbed it really quickly, kept it on the desk. So we nearly lost the entire system that we were streaming off the back of the desk. That would have been a disaster. So yeah, I mean, streaming is so difficult. I find the key to a good stream is just to prepare as much as you can, and prepare for failure. Like if I'm streaming a system, I'll usually have a second system over on the other desk on standby just in case I can whack in quickly. We've had streams where I've had guests here, and I remember once we had a 2-minute kind of refreshment break during the stream. Said, like, everyone go and get drinks, we'll nip to the toilet, and then we'll carry on. Just as we transitioned to the holding screen, the machine blue screened.
Oh God!
And we furiously restarted
That's
it,
the
and
worst.
it just so
That's the
happened
worst.
it was during that break that we managed to get it back up again. So
Wow!
we've been really
That's,
lucky. Yeah.
yeah, that is yeah. I mean, that's the thing about live, and I think the only reason we do it because editing. I always wanted. I mean, this is what started the channel. I always wanted to do editing and just put something out there and just have fun with it. And I think, to be honest, live streaming so much easier on the editing side of things. You don't really need to edit; you just plug in and go.
Yeah.
But the problem is you got that massive risk element. But it's a funny thing, isn't it?
And there's
like it's easier
there's so much competition in the live streaming arena that to stand out as something different to everyone else is really, really difficult. It's really difficult to stand out, especially in retro, because you're already a niche area. If you go to Twitch and you search the retro section, it's quite small. It's quite small.
It is small. Yeah, definitely. Again, I think that's why we chose to not go so serious, because we don't put any money into it at all.
Yeah.
And we have fun, and again, it's just like a funny shit show. So
you're leaning towards that kind of
really...
Top Gear hanging out sort of vibe, which I think there's a huge gap for that kind of thing.
Yeah,
definitely.
If you want to watch something bad, come and watch it. But we don't do too bad. We're not really gamers. I was never really a gamer anyway. I was always a music writer, but I love the games, and that's what people want to see. So
I was pleased to see you recently streaming Grim Fandango. Once you got it set up and working, you had a bit of fiddling to get it working. But that's one of my favorite games. I love that.
We were actually gone over to the remastered PS4 version just because it's been so much aggro.
Okay. If you want to run it on a PC, you can run it in Scum VM. That's quite handy.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Supported in there.
Yeah, I think people aren't into this at the moment just because we're talking a lot, but it's going south a little bit. I think people wait on Neo Geo because this is almost a stopgap.
Okay.
And we needed the part. It's a super gun. That was it. Super gun. We was waiting for a part from Spain.
So you've got original Neo Geo carts then to slap into your super gun. Nice.
Bought it off of Gadget UK. So pretty cool.
Excellent.
So I remember you saying you watch other things on YouTube. Apart from retro, what do you watch?
Well, the man you've just mentioned, Gadget UK, deserves a big shout out and a link because he does incredible things. He's on another level when it comes to hardware repairs. So
I know, it's ridiculous. I'm jealous of that. Totally jealous.
Yeah. You, of course. I like a bit of OSG.
I do a little bit.
And then the chap. I've got an interview later today with a chap called Mean Machine Dean. I don't know if you know of Dean. He's a Twitch streamer. He puts out an incredible live show. I love what he does. I love the content that he covers, and he does it very professionally. And it always annoys me when I see shows like yours and shows like Mean Machine Dean going out, putting so much hard work into it, and not getting the audience they deserve. So he deserves a shout out. Another group called the Amigos. I don't know if you know the Amigos. They do a lot of Amiga stuff, naturally. But they're based in America, and they also cover the ZX Spectrum. They've done the Sam Coupe and things like that, which is really nice because you're getting an American perspective on hardware that they never had over there. So it really is first impressions.
That's good.
And they're quite fair, They're not going all angry video game nerd on the ZX Spectrum and saying, "Oh, this color clash is terrible." They are giving it a fair review. Johnny over at Reenthused, Retro Baz, Retro Recollections. I'm just going through people on my Discord server now.
Cool.
All of these guys, all of these channels. Yes, I'll send you links to them all because it's always nice to discover new channels, isn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely. And to be honest, I've been out of loop doing this fan. Yeah, I've been out of loop for about a year and a bit now. So yeah, I've just not been in it. It's just the people that I've still got. But it's funny how you say about this Spectrum because I used to say about the graphics clash and the sounds and that. But it's funny that when you speak to a Spectrum owner, they say something completely different. So, oh yeah, the Commodore had very pastel graphics, where ours is really colourful. And you, until you look at it, you're like, do you know what? They've got a point.
Yeah.
Although they had the graphics clash, you think, yeah, they actually see things from another perspective, where we're slating a certain thing, they're slating another thing. Although I like them both now, but
Yeah.
it is funny, and you think, do you know what? Yeah, there's the other side of it you never really saw.
Yeah. I mean, there's
So
no questioning, I don't think, and this might upset some people, but there's no questioning that the Commodore 64 is a better piece of hardware than a ZX Spectrum.
yeah,
But you can
yeah,
still program a Commodore 64 badly and a ZX Spectrum well.
yeah,
So they each have their
true.
own good examples. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely true. So now YouTube's got huge success, not just amongst retro but everywhere. And I find it's got a deeper level of subject in certain content. What do you think of regular terrestrial TV in comparison?
Well, my TV at home isn't connected to an aerial, isn't connected to Sky. I have a little PC under my TV, and I consume everything on demand, a lot through YouTube and then Netflix. So
Definitely changed.
terrestrial TV, it just, everything is on demand. And I think recent events have introduced a lot more new people to on-demand TV, just because they've had the spare time to fill, to want to, entertain themselves. I did see a huge surge on YouTube when the event first happened. That's sort of faded off again now, but there's certainly, on the whole, a lot more people now that have been introduced to it. So terrestrial TV, it's just bilge, isn't it? When you watch what's on there now, there's
really
so
now. Yeah,
stuff.
Definitely, and as you say, the advent of Netflix and Amazon and that, it's just so. Yeah, it's just, you can watch whatever you want.
Closest I come to it is the BBC iPlayer now, because obviously that's being transmitted terrestrially, but I'm watching it on demand.
Yeah, it's just the choice of what you want to watch. I like finding out new things on YouTube and watching stuff, even recommended, and then you almost find yourself at weird areas like, fuck am I doing here?
I watch a lot of car repairs. I know nothing about car repairs. I just like seeing cars fixed. So things like that.
Yeah.
A lot of history channels. Yeah.
That's it, yeah, and things that just blow you away, you just never knew existed, and I think that is the content rich part of it, that you think you'd never get that on telly, and you can't tell it to watch what you want to watch, and I think that's what's changed it all, and I think it's brilliant.
The terrestrial channels always have to try and appeal to the biggest audience they can, so they'll generalize a topic massively. Yeah, I mean, the BBC is not supposed to work in that way. It's supposed to cater to niches, because it shouldn't have the commercial pressures, but it still does, reality TV shows and all of that crap.
Yeah, it's terrible. yeah, I know. When they can be putting car programs on.
Yeah.
So we like to have healthy and open debates about difficult subjects, which can be a problem on YouTube, especially. With locked PC rules, it has affected our channel since these were enforced. Where do you stand with such political views, and what are your views? Do you find it hard to express or to be yourself within the making of your channel, to keep it from being classed as bad content? Now, we've had massive problems with this.
Right, okay. Well, from my perspective, I have a rule on my Discord server which extends out to the channel, really, which is no politics and no religion, because they are just massively divisive. And people don't come to my channel to think about what's going on in their real lives. They want a bit of escapism. They want to learn something new, and they want to come away feeling good about it. So if I start saying I'm left or right leaning politically, I think this or that about Donald Trump or whatever, you've immediately, because of the way politics is these days, you've immediately made 50% of your audience feel bad. So it's just not a sensible idea. Yeah. I interviewed John St. John, who is the voice of Duke Nukem, and he mentioned in his interview, I asked him, had he ever declined any voiceover work on the grounds of ethics and morality? And he said, yeah. Really? He said, I turned down a job being the voice of the Donald Trump campaign because he doesn't agree with his politics, which is fair enough. True. That's his decision, whether you agree with it or not. And the comment section was inundated with people saying, how can Duke Nukem not like Donald Trump? I'm never watching him again. He's an idiot. Just violent, horrible comments, just because of that mention of his own personal choice based on his own personal politics. So I try to avoid it personally.
It's difficult, and I think for us, it's not we're trying to make trying to stir up problems. I think what I hate is the PC side of stuff now, and I think it's so mind narrowing and it stops people thinking. It's almost like an oppression. But yeah, I mean, on our channel we can probably rile a few feathers, but you know, I like to keep people thinking, and I do listen to what the viewers say and like to keep stuff on board. But again, it doesn't work really on YouTube, and I think, to be honest, it works against us. I've had people leave over it and everything, but it's like, well, I honestly, I'd love to, you know, people start thinking again, because it's all about the offence, isn't it? Oh, you know, it's so easy to get offended, but like, well, that's the only way you learn. It's the only way you have a debate. Someone's going to get offended at some point.
Yeah. And it's you know, it comes down to when you say things that might offend someone, is there or isn't there intent behind what you've said to try and offend someone? Is it a misunderstanding? You know, how has that happened? And is that person who's offended open-minded enough to chat with you and you know, just talk it through? That's what 90% of problems are solved, just by talking. So if they storm off and say, I'm offended, I'm never watching you again, well, it's, you know, I don't like to lay blame, but that, you know, try and resolve your differences.
And I think, like you say, if you're not prepared to listen to what the other person says, that's where the issue is. Yeah, or some, you know, agree on some side. I know what I do. I'm on the front line at work, and I always say there's two ways of talking to people. You can wind them up, or you can actually talk to them properly and get to some sort of resolution where you have to just agree to differ and smile and get on with it, or you know, learn something. One of you learn something. So
when it comes to people sort of attacking you about things like that in the comment section or whatever, I always just say to myself, well, you don't know what their personal situation is, the stresses they're going through in life. They might just be lashing out because they're going through something horrible. So you can't take it too personally.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and that's probably one of the things I forget about. You know, someone going mad at you in a car, giving you the finger, and you think that guy's an arsehole, but then 5 minutes down the road you think, we just never know. You know, maybe his nan's just died and he couldn't give a shit about the world. Yeah. So yeah, you do have to sit back sometimes, don't you?
I mean, he may just be an asshole, but you know, there are it's a possibility.
It's true. Yeah. True, especially in Kent, mate. We're just on the outskirts of London. There you go, I'm going to offend someone now. But yeah, anyway, what tips do you have for anybody wanting to perhaps go down a route of starting a serious YouTube channel?
Serious YouTube channel. I mean, I think the same tips apply to any YouTube channel, which is just make something, just upload something. Because if you watch my earliest videos compared to my current videos, there's a huge gulf in the difference in quality. I've got a horrible echoey microphone, terrible lighting, all the rest of it in those old ones. And hopefully if you watch me in a year's time again, it will have improved again. And that's only come from uploading stuff, watching it, getting feedback. So just make something. Just upload it.
Yeah. See where it goes and watch your... I haven't even looked at stats, but the YouTube stats as well are pretty good to see where you're going and your demographics and all that.
One mistake I see quite a lot of new YouTubers make is to market it too heavily and in the wrong way. So they'll upload a video and then they'll just start spamming their channel and saying, I've made this great new channel, all over Reddit, all over Twitter, and immediately people dislike you because you're just spamming everywhere. So integrate yourself with the community and be a bit more subtle. You know, it's give and take. It's not just, you know, watch what I've done. You have to engage with other people.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, networking. And I'm going to see you in October, hopefully. We're actually going to meet each other.
If that's all going ahead still at RetCon, isn't it? Yeah,
it's true. Yeah. I actually said to Big Nuts and the Horse the other day, I said... anyone that doesn't know Liam Graham, but there's a story to that. I said, I wonder if I should just drive up to Bristol and do this with Neil in his studio.
Yeah.
But that would have been fun, but I just think it'd be a weird setting. You know, I'm interviewing you in your own place.
Yeah, yeah. That's fine. You can do that someday.
It would have been fun,
over.
but you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's just cross over to the next gen stuff, really. What are your top 5 next gen games?
Next gen, are we talking PlayStation and Philips CDI and Sega Saturn? Is that next gen?
Well, modern, if you want. It's up to you.
Is, right,
up to you.
I spend so much time with 8 and 16-bit machines that everything looks next generation to me. There's newer than sort of 1995. Yeah. I haven't owned the current generation of consoles. I've only played them at friends. So I'm pretty out of touch. With current gen stuff, I guess it's my Steam library, what I'm playing on PC.
Fair play.
Even that's pretty terrible. I've been playing Chris Sawyer's Locomotion a lot lately, and that's from 2004. I've been playing a game called Eastshade quite a lot. That came out last year, which is when you describe it, it sounds terrible. You're a painter walking around an island painting things.
Oh, really? That sounds different.
It's almost like Skyrim without any actual battles. And the reason I've been playing that is just because it helps me to switch my brain off. It's a really relaxing game. It's a really nice, chilled out game. Lily, my other half, isn't massively into games, but she keeps saying to me, "Can we go and play Eastshade?" Because she likes to sit with me and put a second pair of headphones on and just go exploring around this place. So there's a nice thing to do together.
No, that is good.
And then we have a little games club on the Discord where we'll play Golf with Your Friends, which is a little 3D crazy golf game. We play Worms quite a lot. This is not next gen stuff. Brilliant. This is not. But,
so funny. So funny.
Modern gaming requires so much time. It's so difficult to dedicate.
It does, yeah.
Which is why it's nice when you can, which you probably find, is to be able to use streaming as an excuse to just play games sometimes. Otherwise, you just have time to do it.
And I think even back then, I suppose, there's quite a lot of samey stuff. When you play another game, it's almost in the back of your mind. You're like, this is almost the same game as that, but you don't really want to say it.
I think us older gamers have that. I think we can pick up on a lot of gameplay elements in modern games that we can say, I kind of I've played this, even though it looks a million times better. I kind of played this 20 years ago. Yeah, there is a lot.
Yeah. And even GTA 5, Watch Dogs and that they've got that map. You've got your map, you've got your side missions, you've got your main mission, and everything's almost like that now, isn't it? It's
turns into a bit of a grind sometimes.
Yeah, and again, like you say, you need a hell of a lot of time, and even with the latest game, I just play the main mission and on easy. You know, if I can say that, if I ain't going to get lynched. Oh, he's an easy guy. But you need so much time, and to do the side missions, I don't bother. I just do the main storyline, and that's about it. And that's my leisure. Yeah. And then I'll go and do something else. So it's crazy, and you almost got to be out of work to complete a game now.
Totally. You know, when you think about when you were a kid and how much time you sunk into video games, you just can't do it anymore. It's a shame.
No, you can't. No. So, right, let's find... trying to wrap it up for you now. We've been through that. So, push your... you can plug your... RetroManCave is pushing a Hoffman record and vinyl release and a retro tea breaks book. So fire away.
This is somehow
some photos up here.
All happened at once. I'm going to give you a world exclusive, okay? So yesterday 250 vinyl records arrived on the hottest day of the year, and I had to carry them all down the street.
That's not light.
Here we go.
Yeah, that's not light.
This is the final product. It's finally arrived.
And you designed that?
I designed the artwork on it. That's
amazing.
I don't know if you can see. There's tracker information.
Oh, wicked.
All over there.
That's so good.
And then it opens up.
That's wicked.
Hoffman.
Oh, look at that.
So Hoffman's going to come on the 23rd of August, and he's going to sign all of them.
23rd of August, that's my birthday, funnily enough.
And then
awesome. I'm 40 then.
They'll all be, there's 250, so they'll all be numbered and signed. And then inside there's two records. There we go. And they are transparent, semi-transparent red.
Oh my God, you're kidding me.
with all of
That's
Hoffman's
awesome,
music.
mate.
So
That is
cool,
awesome.
so cool. I've never made a vinyl
That's
record
brilliant.
before. I'm really proud of it.
I'll tell you what, that's wicked. That's so good.
So these are going to go on sale. I hope people want them. So we've only made 250. We do have the option to push the button.
Yeah, I'll buy one.
But the first 250 will be the only ones that are numbered and signed. There'll be a first edition, if you like. So hopefully we'll.
How much are they going for?
I think they're going to be 35 for the double album. Yeah, which we think is pretty fair for the quality of it. It sounds amazing. And I'm hoping to include a code for a digital download as well, because not everyone's got a record player, but it's still a nice thing to own.
No, it's awesome.
And then the other thing is the book.
So cool.
I don't have a book to show you yet, so this is still a live Kickstarter. Hopefully you can include a link. I think we're into the last 10 days or so. I don't know when you'll release this, but it will probably be close to the end of the Kickstarter. And this is Retro Tea Breaks, which is a book which pulls together all of the interviews that I've done into a history book, if you like, a video game history book. The goal is to preserve video game history, oral history, from all of the people that I've spoken to. And we've mixed in photos that the guests have sent in, guests like Al Lowe, who else? So we had Stu Cambridge, who I'll come back to in a minute, from Sensible Software. Richard Garriott's in there. Ken Silverman, who made the build engine for Duke Nukem. Lots of people like that. And they've extended on the interviews that I've done with them. It's just a really nice looking quality book that I think people will really enjoy. And I mentioned Stu Cambridge from Sensible Software because he's done the artwork. He's done pixel portraits, and these are drafts. These are not the final thing.
Oh, wicked.
But with the book, you can get a set of collector's cards.
That's awesome.
Which have all of the guests
That's
drawn
really cool.
by Stu, who did all the art for like Cannon Fodder and Sensible Software.
That's wicked.
So they're going to be done on nice quality litho print cards. And the book.
I think Stu's been on one of our streams years ago. He come on and he told us he was one of the developers, and we couldn't believe it. We was blown away. It was still quite early days back then.
Yeah, he does sometimes pop onto streams when he sees someone playing one of the games he's worked.
Yeah.
Lovely guy.
Yeah, cool. That's cool.
Rob Hubbard, I interviewed him, so he's in the book.
That's brilliant.
I've just read the cards instead of trying to memorise them, couldn't I?
I love Pix a lot.
Mike Daly.
It's lovely.
So he's DMA Design. He did the first Grand Theft Auto and Lemmings. He's in the book.
Oh, really?
So some really interesting people, and it steers away from the usual Nintendos and Segas that you find in these books normally. It's not trying to cater to the big video gaming audience. It's trying to really drill down to those unheard stories, if you like. So there you go. That's the big sell for the book. Go and check it out.
no, and it's good for your channel, so it's fair play. You know, if that's your day job, do it. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
I'll have to buy one of them vinyls, definitely. It sounds wicked.
Excellent.
And it helps you out. So
patrons will get early access. So I'll add you to the list for a first refusal if you want to have one or not.
Yeah, definitely. Money's here, mate. Waiting. No, I mean, I've got a set of decks anyway, and no, there's something about vinyl still. It's just a certain sound.
I'm pretty new to it, to be honest.
Yeah,
I bought a record deck a couple of months ago, and it's really got me back into music again in a way that I miss. To sit down, put it on with no interruptions, with no adverts, with no disc. I was going to say ICQ. I haven't used that for 20 years. With no disc popping
ICQ,
up and interrupting your music experience. And it's just an event when you listen to a piece of music. And I'm not being a snob or an audiophile or anything like that. It's just so nice to put a vinyl record on.
There's something. It must be something to do with the analog part of that needle touching that record. Don't know what it is. It's a totally different sound, and it's almost like my old man explaining it. Definitely a warmer sound.
Yeah, and Hoffmann makes all of his music on trackers on the Amiga, and we've captured it directly from his Amigas, and then on the vinyl, it's really captured that Amiga sound fantastically. Crazy. Yeah, it works well.
Yeah, I'll definitely get one, Neil. Definitely.
Excellent.
So it's RetCon, October the 31st. Hopefully, this is on. If you want to go and visit RetroManCave and sub to the guy, do him a favour. It's his day job. YouTube.com/RetroManCave. Same thing with Facebook. The RetroManCave,
because another person already had RetroManCave.
Yeah, I hate that. Seething. Twitter, the RetroManCave again. Instagram, retro.man.cave.
Yeah.
I think I've got that all right.
All of those.
Anything else?
And no, do check out RetCon. I've been working on the Mr. FPGA build lately on my channel, and I think that's probably the system that I'm going to take with me to RetCon. So if you want to experience some FPGA, I won't say emulation because people get angry if you call it emulation, but FPGA system, I'll set it all up so you can come and have a play on it at RetCon. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, right. I'm just going to ask you the hardest question before I forget. Well, what are your favourite top 10 retro games across all retro systems?
It's a horrible question. It's a horrible question.
It is a horrible
question. As a
retro
gamer,
but, you know...
I mean, the reason I explore old video game libraries is in the hope that I will find my next favourite game. So I'm always finding new games that are favourite. So I think it's best to kind of say the games that I've put the most hours into, probably. Grim Fandango, which you mentioned, and I hate that you've called Grim Fandango filler on your channel because I love that game. Grim Fandango.
Do you know what? I agree with that, and do you know what? I'm just going to interrupt here a sec because we had the same problem with Monkey Island, right? I love that game, and I think I'd love this, but the problem is because there's three of us and we can't concentrate. Someone's talking or the chat's going, and someone's bantering or punching us or being pissed. You just can't concentrate, and we just end up talking crap. And to the viewers, although they love it, it's horrible. It's one of them games you can't do in a sort of setup like we've got, and I really hate that.
It's funny, isn't it? These games were made in a time when it was a very solitary hobby, and you know, things like Twitch didn't exist. I wonder if we'll see more and more games that are engineered to be more social and to be actually used on Twitch.
That's a good point.
No, don't know.
Definitely.
In the arcade, Robotron 2084, an old Williams game. But whenever I'm in an arcade and I see it, I have to play it because it's just such a pure adrenaline thumping arcade experience.
I'm going to write that down. I don't know what that is.
Okay.
That sounds cool.
Robotron. Have you ever played Smash TV? That's kind of similar to it. Okay. So you've got to play it in the arcade because you're using two joysticks at the same time, and it's so intense. It's like a complete full body experience. You just really block everything out, and it's just going at 1,000,000 miles an hour. It's the inspiration behind things like Jeff Minter's Llamatron and things like that. It's inspired loads of games. Something a bit newer. I put a lot of time into Project Gotham Racing 3 on the Xbox 360.
Oh, that was a great game. Game.
I used to play it on a 14-inch CRT when everyone else had their flat screens. I was still in my tiny CRT. This will always cause controversy. I'm more of a kickoff to and goal man than a sensible soccer man. So I put a huge amount of hours into goal. The original Rainbow Six, I spent a huge number of hours on. I used to be part of a clan called the European Tactical Squad.
Oh, wicked.
And we would have
was that PC?
PC, 56k dial-up modems. We were still on then, and we'd have clan matches.
Oh, yeah.
It was awesome.
Jesus, I didn't know you could do that back then.
Oh yeah,
that's mad.
Yeah.
And you was already clanning. Jesus.
Yeah.
I never knew that. Wow.
Settlers on the Amiga. Spent a huge amount of time on Settlers.
Yeah.
2 players, 2 mice, split screen. It was brilliant. Brilliant.
See, again, that's another game you can just put on and just enjoy and let it go, because there's unless I know you played it multiplayer, but even solo, you know, you can just sit and watch, and I love it. It's just that effortless time thing. You can just chill out and enjoy the game. I love it.
Yeah, and the series has evolved. I haven't actually played some of the newer ones. I need to try them out, but that original one I put a huge number of hours into. I love my flight sims. I'll go with B-17 Flying Fortress. Because I don't know if you've ever played that. You're in the plane and you've got like 10 guys in it, and you've got to manage like if your rear gunner gets shot, you've got to put someone else there. And you know,
no, I've not played it.
If your pilot gets shot, you can put the bombardier in the pilot seat, but it doesn't really know how to fly, so you know, got to be careful with that.
That's pretty cool.
And I don't know if you know.
Was that on the Amiga? Was it?
Let me grab it. It's here.
Yeah, I'm sure that was on the Amiga.
Here we go. I keep it on the shelf. I like it so much. So that's the first one. So it came out about the same time as the film Memphis Belle. So the B-17. Everyone loved the B-17. And then they brought out a sequel, which was called The Mighty Eight. They're both Microprose released games. And I don't know if you've seen lately, but Microprose have kind of come back, or at least somebody's bought the name Microprose, and they're making a new B-17 game. And because you're in this big plane with 10 guys or girls, it's going to be a full VR team play flight sim. So you and all your mates can sit in VR and do the mission together. That's going to be amazing. If they pull it off, that's going to be amazing.
That's going to be good. That is going to be good. That sounds wicked. I wouldn't mind jumping on that.
I don't know how many games I've told you so far. Outrun always has to get a mention in the arcade because it's the coolest feeling game to play in an arcade. If you've got a full sit down Outrun cab, that music. Ultima 7, spent loads of time playing Ultima 7.
I've never really played that.
It's hard to go back to and play now because role-playing games have progressed so much. At the time,
right, yeah.
You know, it felt like a living, breathing world before we had online role-playing games. It felt amazing. But if you go back and play it now, it's all a bit kind of okay.
It's almost there. Yeah, that's cool.
And then we'll go with Unreal Tournament. We'll get another FPS in there. Loved Unreal Tournament.
Unreal Tournament, yeah, that was good.
I think that's.
Do you know what? I remember Quake 3 Arena on the PC when graphics started getting really good. And this, I mean, I don't know what frame rate that used to run at, but even on, I think it was an NVIDIA MX2 something, 200 series or something. But that used to run over 60 frames per second, I swear to God.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was really quick game.
I used to like the level with the two towers, one either end, and one shot kills.
Yeah.
Oh, that was awesome.
Yeah. Awesome game. And do you know what? Hopefully, when we kick this LAN off, we're going to have a mini LAN in the summer. It didn't happen last year because the troll buggered it up. But hopefully, when we have a mini LAN this year, we're going to play that with one of the games.
Excellent. I'll wait for my invite.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I can give you it. I'll give you the petrol money as well. Yeah. But yeah. See what happens anyway. So yeah, that is Neil Thomas, everyone. RetroManCave. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, for visiting the cave.
Yeah. Get in and cave dwell. So yeah, awesome. Cheers for that, bud. Brilliant.
Okay.
And I will give your. I forgot to do it this week, but I will give your final and your book another plug on stream.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Yeah, I've been trying not to spam people with it, but we're coming into the last 10 days now, so I've got to do a bit of marketing. Really, got to push it.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Yeah,
it's fine. No, yeah, awesome. And again, your channel looks so good, and keep up the good work, man.
Thank you, mate.
Good.
Thank you. Yeah,
good.
I'll catch you on your next stream, I hope.
Yeah, I'll see you soon, and at the old show. So wicked.
Okay.
It's not actually that big, that show, is it?
No,
I think it's just a little
it's
community
like
centre.
a little community hall. There's probably like 50 or maybe 100 people max in there. It's just nice. So it's lots of systems set up to play on and sort of talks.
Yeah, it's not as hypey as one of the EGXs or anything. It's just nice and chilled.
It's very chilled out.
Yeah.
The ice cream van turns up in the car park halfway through the day. That sort of thing. It's just nice.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, love it. Yeah, brilliant. Okay then, mate.
Okay,
awesome.
Catch you later. Bye-bye.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Neil. See you later, buddy.